All right, let's get right into it. For what feels like forever, influencer marketing has been kind of stuck on autopilot, right? It's all been about algorithms just feeding us the same big names over and over. But what if the really valuable creators, the ones with a truly authentic voice, are the ones the algorithms are missing? Today, we're going to unpack a totally new playbook that's all about finding those hidden gems in a sea of sameness. I mean, this quote from a former Kate Spade executive, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up the exhaustion that brands and, frankly, we as audiences are feeling. We're living in a world of cookie cutter content, and it's a huge sign that the old way of doing things is just, well, it's broken. So here's the core of the problem. The entire influencer ecosystem is basically trapped in a loop. It's become obsessed with automation and follower counts, and that's led to this massive, insane bidding war for the top 1% of talent. And the result? The costs are sky high, and the returns, they just aren't what they used to be. Not even close. Okay, so picture this scene. It's a dinner in LA. On one side of the table, you've got these top marketing executives from huge brands like Fenty Beauty and Netflix. And on the other side, hand-picked content creators. But here's the really interesting part. The one big rule: no agents, no managers allowed. This isn't just another stuffy business meeting. It's the beginning of a completely different way of building relationships. This slide really breaks it down for us. You can see the massive shift here. On the left, you've got the old way. It's all about spreadsheets, scale, bidding wars, and just overpaying for reach. And you end up with the same predictable archetypes every time. But the new way, over on the right, it just flips the script entirely. It's about using actual human judgment to find that under-the-radar talent and investing in authentic voices that really, truly connect with people. So how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, let's take a look at the wake-up call that happened over at Kate Spade. It's a fantastic story. You see, the brand was going through this huge transformation. They were trying to move away from a very specific, kind of Upper East Side preppy image to championing a cause that's so important: women's mental health. But here's the problem. Their list of influencers was completely stuck in the past. It was totally out of sync with their new mission. So when Iris Coker, who was the director of global influencer strategy at the time, took a hard look at their past campaigns, her reaction was, well, it was blunt. She saw a roster that was, and I'm quoting her here, all white, uninteresting. And she had this moment of realization that the brand just wasn't trying hard enough to reflect the world their customers actually live in. So what did she do? She came up with a brilliant new formula. Instead of dropping a massive budget, say $100,000, on one single big-name influencer, she decided to reallocate it. She chose to work with 15 smaller, much more diverse creators, and then use the other half of that budget for paid promotion to boost their content. It was a pretty radical pivot, and spoiler alert, it really paid off. And the results? The content from this new, diverse group of creators absolutely killed it in paid media. And what that means is, when the brand put money behind those posts to run them as ads, they performed like crazy. In fact, that creator content actually outperformed the brand's own expensive in-house assets on platforms like Meta and TikTok. This wasn't just a win for diversity. This was a huge, undeniable business win. So, who is the architect behind this whole new model? Who's the person connecting brands like Kate Spade with all this incredible, overlooked talent? Well, let's meet Christina Westley, the founder of a company called Social Setting. And here's the genius of her business model. Social Setting operates in that gap. You know, the space between what brands say they value, things like authenticity and cultural nuance, and who they actually end up hiring through their old algorithm-driven methods. Christina is essentially a market maker for undervalued talent. She uses her deep industry network and her cultural awareness to spot these amazing creators that the algorithms will just never, ever find. You know, her whole motivation for this came from her time as an executive at PepsiCo. She saw it firsthand. Incredible creators were being consistently misrepresented or just overlooked entirely, all because the right person wasn't in the room to champion them. And she realized this isn't just a problem at one company. This is a fundamental industry-level challenge that needed a very human solution. And that brings us back to those exclusive dinners. They are absolutely key to this whole process. The rules are specifically designed to strip away all the usual layers. By banning agents, managers, and even plus ones, Christina creates this environment where genuine, direct connections can actually happen. It's a space where a creator's true value, their personality, their professionalism, their strategic mind, can shine through in a way a pitch deck never could.
Trust gets built face-to-face, long before any contracts are even on the table.
And this isn't just about finding someone for a one-off campaign. No, this approach transforms creators from being simple vendors into long-term strategic partners. They become what's called a moat, a real competitive advantage that's super hard for other companies to replicate because it's built on genuine relationships and deep brand alignment. Let's take Disaronno, for example. Here's a 500-year-old Italian brand. Their big challenge was trying to connect their rich heritage with a younger, multicultural audience. They didn't just need more reach, they needed something their marketing manager called cultural fluency.
So through one of these social setting dinners, they met a creator named Kenneth Carell. And from his perspective, getting that direct access to the brand executives was a total game changer. It allowed him to explain his unique value, as a DJ and a storyteller who deeply understands the culture in a way that a simple email or an agent just never could. It was a real human conversation.
This slide lays out the difference in thinking perfectly. So if your strategy is just, find me a plant influencer, what do? You get a list, and you sort it by follower count, right? But if your strategy is more thoughtful, if it's, find me an educator for our sustainability initiatives, then you discover someone like Christopher Griffin, who you might know as Plant Queen, a powerful storyteller with a background in education who brings a totally different level of depth to the partnership. See the difference?
Okay, so we've looked at the problem, we've seen the human-centered solution, and we've seen the incredible results. So what does all this mean for you and your brand? Let's distill everything we've talked about into a clear, actionable playbook.
All right, here it is, your new playbook. First up, and this is crucial, prioritize strategy over spreadsheets. You have to define the business problem you're trying to solve before you even think about looking at a follower count. Second, audit your roster for sameness. Seriously, take a look. If your partners look just like your competitors, you are stuck in an echo chamber. Next, trade raw reach for true resonance. A smaller, deeply connected audience is so much more valuable. Number 5, trust human judgment. Use your cultural insights and your personal networks to find those hidden gems. Then, you have to treat creators as partners, not vendors. Invest in them for the long haul. And finally, and this is a big one, remember that professionalism matters more than polish. A reliable partner with a raw, authentic style will always outperform a fleeky one with a perfect-looking grid. So, in the end, it really all comes down to this one simple question. In today's market, is your brand just renting faces, caught in an endless cycle of transactions? Or are you actually investing in real relationships and building strategic assets that will deliver value for years and years to come? Honestly, the answer to that question is going to define the future of your brand.